Good morning! I'm off to Amsterdam to make a video about the UK. So we made it to the hotel. Boosh! No, not this time. Because usually it slams back in my face. Not this time. Hello, welcome home. Ah, yes, welcome Bogdan. I love it when the TV knows your name. Boom. Look at that guy trying to park. He's got the smallest car in this city. And he still can't quite. He's actually given up. Oh my. So Amsterdam is very important to me because it marks one of my focus on my face. Come with me. Some of my first business travel moments. It marks my becoming a professional in my career as a filmmaker. The moment when I pushed for YouTube back in 2018 and I started this series that had to do with living in the UK. Oh my god, I had such chubby cheeks back then. They're kind of coming back. But this was the video that I'm talking about. And at the time, I was talking about the Brexit situation. Now we're back 4 years later to answer yet another of your questions. How has Brexit, a couple of years later, impacted the UK from a financial point of view? And it feels poetic to make this video here where it all started. Intro. But first, let me pose a question for you, the viewer, the watcher, the follower of the Bogdan. Have you personally felt a difference since Brexit? It has been 6 years since the whole Brexit shenanigans, since the referendum in 2016, with the delays in negotiations, with the continuous constant uncertainty of how things will be moving forward. Today, it is 6 years since the referendum, and the state of the UK economy is in absolute shambles. Honestly, it's just bad. I'm attempting to recap on how we ended up here, to the UK having one of the world's fastest shrinking economies. As he took office and became Prime Minister, Sunak turned the conversation back to the manifesto of the 2019 elections. He said, and I quote, "I will deliver on Brexit's promise to building an economy that embraces the opportunities." Has he done this so far? Has anyone, any of them in government, done this so far? Well, I guess the intentions are apparently good at heart, and the ultimate active aim is to rebuild the UK economy. A very big part of us would unconditionally agree, though, that Brexit isn't helping to do that. Let's be frank. Upon reflection of the past few years, Brexit was, is, and will continue to be a total disaster. Arguably one of the biggest sources of damage done to the recent UK economy. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. It was negotiated badly from the very beginning. Back then in 2020, the UK's Prime Minister, Mr. Johnson, we all know that guy, right? You remember him, right?
We will be taking back control of our money, our borders, and our laws, and we will seize all the opportunities that Brexit brings.
He agreed to a trade deal with the EU, and that implied that the UK would be now leaving the single market and the customs union. Johnson at the time described it as the deal which will allow our companies to do even more business with the European Union. How? As if. None of that has happened yet. Maybe all the government people are not realizing this, that we are actually poorer. Maybe you can share this video with them, give them some awareness, let them know what the situation actually is down here where we normal people live. The Office for Budget Responsibility, the official body that provides independent analysis of the UK economy, concluded that there's actually been 15% reduction in the trade industry post-Brexit. And here's a graph. The red line shows the UK exports. The UK exports haven't bounced back after COVID, unlike the other countries did. Not that long ago though, from today, November 22, when Sunak was still Chancellor, he said, and I quote him again, "It was always inevitable that was gonna have an impact on trade flows." Obviously, we don't need to work in government to understand that. But this point was also made by the man who actually negotiated Brexit, Lord Frost. And I quote him too. "I've always said leaving the customs union and single market has a cost. Not every Brexiteer has been willing to say that. But I've always said that it's not as big of a problem as people may say." Is he right? Is he wrong? Is Brexit not that big of a problem? What do you think? So not a whole lot of talk about the actual plan to rehabilitate the UK's economy. Fine, we'll leave that aside for now, because there's a whole other aspect to Brexit. Many of the Brexiteers consider that Brexit isn't necessarily about the economy, but rather about sovereignty.
Tell people the truth about the economic situation that we're in. We've borrowed vast amounts of money, we haven't got much growth, we've got inflation. Tell them the truth. Take back control of our borders.
Taking back control. But mate, remember, the economy was always going to be a huge part of this outrageous, pointless change that happened.
No doubt that'll get me in trouble, but hey, like you, I don't care really.
Let's remember Michael Gove in 2016, yeah? When it was all happening. The truth is that if we voted to leave, we will be in an economically stronger position. Still not the case, mate. It just hasn't happened yet. We do have to cut them a little bit of slack. It does take time to establish effectively a brand new system. Or so they claim. But so far, nothing of what they promised has been kept, has happened. There are about 71 new trade deals in place with countries from the EU, but the reality is that the majority of these are carbon copies of the same deals that were in place before Brexit. There are, of course, completely new deals, fresh ones. Take a look at the Australian deal, for example. It is estimated to grow the UK's gross domestic product, or GDP, by 0.08% by 2035, a whole 13 years from now. But there's no sign whatsoever of a deal with the US. What's going on? And what about business investment? That's a whole other chapter. It peaked in 2016, the year of the Brexit referendum, and it never returned to that level of peakness. And the value of the pound? Well, we all know that it took a massive hit against the dollar, a whole 15%. So thus we say bye-bye to the world's strongest currency, the British pound. This is a modern world, right? Modern businesses, modern ideas, creative business making, and yet inflation is at its highest in 40 years, man. A whole 4 decades. Unacceptable. Take all these facts, package them nicely, and give them to the Office for Budget Responsibilities so they can then actually conclude that as a result of Brexit, the UK's GDP will actually lower by 4% over the next 15 years. Which renders that whole Australian deal of completely pointless. But hey, you gotta try and fix things, right? You got to stay positive. We will deliver Brexit. We will get it done. What it was never clear. But based on the evidence today, Brexit in its current form is one of the biggest things that has harshly stopped the UK's economy from growing. A sad reality for all of us. Almost like angry reality. It looks like for the time being we are genuinely stuck in this regretful governmental mistake. So what happened? Who came up with the idea? Was it genuinely us, the actual Brits? Did we actually want that? Or was it Russian interference? I don't know, but I'd love to know. Maybe one day. In the meantime though, I'd love to hear from you. How has, is, and you predict will Brexit impact your life? Your quality of life. Meanwhile, I'm gonna stop this video here. It was very serious, and I feel like I need a break. Whew. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. click that sub button and then the bell thing to get the notifications when I upload something new, and let me know if you've enjoyed this kind of content. I have a muse, I have stamina and energy, and I'm gonna continue making videos about life in the UK. And do not forget to follow me on all the social medias with @BogdanAlexiTV, especially on the gram. That's where I'm most active. Greetings from Amsterdam. I'll see you from Atlanta. Laters!
Now.